Ready? Hey, is that cool? Awesome.
I want to talk about like when I started, going to school and stuff, a lot of people put me down, you know what I mean? Like people tease each other. I mean, people come up and say, hey, you're fat, 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 you like, lose some weight, and you go home and you look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm fat, right? And so many people tease each other. Oh, you're too short, you're too tall, you look whatever. Different hair and all that. It doesn't matter. See, the thing is, when you're in school, when you're growing up in life, it actually sort of matters to people how you look. And then it matters to you because it matters to others. Why? Why does it matter how you look? Because if they don't like you, then who will? If they don't accept you, then who will? And the fear that we have is that we're going to be alone. That we're not good enough. And we have to change ourselves. And so many people put me down and say, Nick, you look too weird and no one's really your friend and you can't do this and you can't do that. And I couldn't change anything. It's not like just fixing my hair one day and everything's fine. It's not like, just whatever. I couldn't change my circumstance. I couldn't just one day wake up and say, hey, give me arms and legs. I need arms and legs. You know what I mean? Like, I went to a bodybuilder, and said, can you make me some arms and legs? No, joking. Bodybuilder, you get it? Right? So this is the thing. I go up to people, can you give me a hand? Just joking. But it was so hard because people put me down. And I started believing that I was not good enough. I started believing that I was a failure. That I'd never ever be somebody who people would like or people would accept. And it was so hard, man. I thought to myself, I can't go on the soccer field like everybody else, and I can't ride my bike, and I can't skateboard, and all these sort of things. And I started getting depressed. I thought, what kind of purpose do I have to live? I mean, are you just here to live to die? I mean, is there not a purpose for me? Is there not a purpose in life? And I had questions and no answers. And I asked my mum and dad, why did this happen? I asked doctors, why did this happen? And they don't know. There are some things in life that are out of your control that you can't change and you got to live with. The choice that we have, though, is either to give up or keep on going. I want to ask you, what are you going to believe? Are you going to believe in yourself? Are you going to believe everybody else's judgment on you? Are you going to believe people when they say that you're a failure, when no one really likes you, no one really cares about you? And it's not really to say that, hey, you need someone to come up and say, hey, really, I like you, I care about you. No, it's not that, but it's the fact that people put you down. People don't even look you in the eye. People ask you how you are, and you say fine, but you're not fine, and they'll never know that. I tell you, life is interesting. Life's a journey. See this phone here? Let's say that I want to go to the phone, right? And I start from over here. Now, to get to the phone, it's not like I'm going to start meditating and going hum, right? And float across the air, right? It's not going to work. It's not like I'm going to go hum and woo, it's not going to work. So I have to take one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. You can only take one step at a time. I don't care how big your step is, it's only one step at a time. You can't do two steps in one. You understand? So it's like one step at a time. And you take steps in this direction, you take steps in that direction, sort of get lost along the way, and sometimes you fall down. Now, to illustrate my point, I'm going to jump off the table, do a back twist, and land on the floor. Okay? Is that cool? Are you ready? Oh, there's a clock there? Okay, can you move the clock for a second, please? Beautiful, beautiful. All right. You ready? So, are you guys ready? Just let me know when you're ready. Are you ready? Okay, ready? 1, 2. I'm joking, man. Are you serious? Just put the clock back there. If I did that, I'll break my arm or something. You know what I mean? But honestly, along the way, you might fall down like this. Ready? Right? Hello! Right. So what do you do when you fall down? Get back up. Everybody knows to get back up, because if I start walking, I'm not going to get anywhere. But I tell you, there are some times in life where you fall down and you feel like you don't have the strength to get back up. So sort of put a mask on your face when you come to school and pretend that everything's okay when it's not, and you go home and lay in your bed when no one's looking at you, when you don't have to impress anybody, and you're yourself. And fear comes in. You know the fear that you have as soon as you walk into the doors of your house. Maybe there's a broken home. Maybe you have doubt in your life. Maybe you don't know for sure what's going to be happening in the future, and it scares you. Maybe you're worried about what people think of you, what people say about you. Just that fear paralyzes you. And I just want to ask you today, do you think you have hope? Because I tell you, I'm down here, face down, and I have no arms, no legs. It should be impossible for me to get back up. I mean, you go home and tie the legs and arms of your brothers and sisters and like push them down and see how long it's going to take them to get back up. You know what I mean? You know, you can tell them that you'll see them tomorrow. You know what I mean? But this is the thing. It should be impossible for me to get back up, but it's not. You see, I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm ever going to get up? No. But if I fail, I try again and again and again. For as long as I try, there's always that chance of getting up. Does that make sense? And it's not the end until you've given up. And just the fact that you're here should persuade you that you have another chance to get back up. There's still hope. I'm not here today to tell you that I understand your pain. I don't know how it feels to be abused. I don't know how it feels to feel, quote, fat and you've got an eating disorder. I don't know how it feels to have a broken home. I don't know how it feels. But I know how it feels to have a broken heart. And I know how it feels to be alone. And I want you to know that I found my strength in Jesus Christ, and you're going to find your strength in whatever you find it in. But I just want you to know that it's not the end. It matters how you're going to finish. Are you going to finish strong? And you will find that strength to get back up like this.
Almost a school shooter. In 1996, Denver, Colorado, as a student in North High, in a moment of pain and anger, I almost committed a terrible atrocity. Growing up, I learned early on there was a strange comfort and calmness in darkness. I was always the new kid. My family was very violent and aggressive, drug-addicted parents. We were moving from place to place a lot, went to 30 or 40 different schools, always seemed to be going to a new school every other week. You woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning by some cops who run across the country to get away from them and then end up at a school I'd only be at for a couple weeks and then have to do it all again a couple days later. Was the perpetual new kid. And since I also had such an unstable household, wasn't helped by the fact that I smelled really bad because I never had a shower or didn't really have any clean clothes, so I never really had any, all my clothes were dirty and torn. I had a weight problem. I was smart. I liked comic books at a time when kids didn't really like people who liked comic books that much. So every time I went to a new school, I was in a whole new set of bullies. They'd do things like walk up to me and shoot me with a harpoon like I was a whale, or dunk food on my head because they said I was too fat. But the bullying wasn't just at home, or wasn't just at school. It happened at home a lot too. I was told I was worthless by just about everybody in my life. And when you're told you're worthless enough, you will believe it. Then you're going to do everything you can to make everybody else agree with it too. And so I did. I wrapped that darkness around me like a blanket and used it as a shield. It would keep the few that would agree with me close, but it kept everybody else away. I always had heard in life that there was good people and bad people. I must be one of the bad people, so I guess I would have to just do what I was supposed to do. So I got really aggressive. 12, 13 years old, I got really into heavy metal music, and I was the mosh pit when I went to concerts. The abuse just never seemed to stop. I got into cutting around 14 or 15 because I figured that there was all this extreme emotion going on in my life I had absolutely no control over. Had to find some way to find control over something, so I took to cutting myself. I still have the scars to this day. 15, 16 years old, I ended up homeless. My parents had long ago kicked me out because I didn't want to deal with their drunken fighting anymore, so I was living on the streets. I had thought I had pushed all my other friends away too, shoved them all away by lying to them or stealing from them or doing everything that my family taught me how to react to everybody, which was the complete wrong way of how to react. But I had no idea. I was just going on what I was taught. Finally, 16 years old, I'm sitting in my best friend's shed, who I thought I had already pushed away too by stealing from him and lying from him, laying in this shed with the roof wide open, rain pouring down on me into a dungy gray chair that was covered in cobwebs and dirt, hadn't been touched in months. And I'm sitting there with my arm covered in blood, knowing that if I didn't do something, I was going to kill myself soon. So I did the only thing I could think of to do. Grabbed a phone book and I called social services. So when I went to social services, sadly, they didn't just bring me in there. They also took my mom in there too, who happened to be one of the largest sources of my pain growing up. And since she had spent her entire life running from place to place and dealing with social workers and police officers, she knew exactly what to say to get me to get them to believe that I was just making it all up. It was all just an act. I was just doing it for attention. Then they sent me home with her. And as they sent me home with her, she turned to me and she said, "Next time you should do a better job and I'll buy you the razor blades." My heart just got ripped out of me at that point completely. That darkness that I've been staring at for so long, I just ran headlong into it. I had nothing left to live for. I literally had nothing to lose. And when you have nothing to lose, you can do anything. And that is a terrifying thought. I decided that my act of doing something was I was going to express my extreme anger and rage by getting a gun. I was going to attack either my school or a mall food court. Really didn't matter to me which one. It wasn't about the people. It was about the largest amount of damage in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of security. Both those places were right targets. So I wish I had a better story about actually getting a gun, but that was actually really rather businesslike. There was some gangbanger kids near my school. It was back in the mid-90s when gangs were still a rather major problem in North Denver schools. And this kid had seen me, he knew me from my family, he'd sold drugs to them before, and he knew that I wasn't really in school, I was just always at school, so he knew I wasn't a narc or anything like that, but didn't know him anything more than a first name, but that didn't really take anything more than that. I knew that they had access to guns, they talked about it all the time. So I went up to him and said, "Hey, can you get me a gun?" "Sure, get me an ounce." "All right, give me 3 days." That was it. I was waiting to get myself a gun so I could kill a lot of people. But thankfully, I wasn't alone in that darkness. That best friend who had saved me, I was sleeping in his shed, he saw this place that I was in. Even though I had stolen from him and lied to him and taken his belongings and ruined it all, he didn't care. He still brought me in and showed me acts of kindness. Just simple acts. It wasn't the kind of overbearing kindness where they come to you and they say, "Is there anything I can do to you? Is there a program I can get you in? Is there something I can do to make you better? How can I help you?" It was literally just sitting down next to me. "Hey, would you like a meal? Let's watch a movie." Treat it like it was a Tuesday. Treat me like I was a person. And when someone treats you like you're a person, when you don't even feel like you're human, it'll change your entire world. And it did to me. He stopped me with his acts of kindness from committing that atrocity that day. If you see someone who's in that spot that needs that love, give it to them. Love the ones you feel deserve it the least because they need it the most. It'll help you just like as much as it helps them. We're in a really big, dangerous spot right now with this trend of arming the teachers and looking out for the kids who might be the threat in schools and maybe turning them into the FBI. What's that going to do to a kid who's in the position that I was in 25 years ago, who's alone and depressed and abused and is just sitting there hurting and someone thinks that they're a threat? So he gets turned into the FBI, and 1 month of pain turns into a lifetime of legal trouble because one person thought he was going to be a problem. Instead of looking at that kid like he's a threat, look at him like he might be a friend. Look at him like you might be able to bring him into your fold. Show him that it's just a Tuesday. Show him that he's worth it. Show him that he can exist in this pain, even though it's intense, that at the end of it, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I found my light. Now I'm a happy family man. I have a father of 4. My wife and my daughter are in the audience today. And even bigger than that, the friend who saved my life, he's in the audience today too. Because friendship doesn't ever really die. we have to give love to the people who we think deserve it the least. Thank you.
I'm Sam, and I just turned 17. A few years ago, before my freshman year in high school, I wanted to play snare drum in the Foxborough High School marching band. However, and it was a dream that I just had to accomplish, but each snare drum and harness weighed about 40 pounds each. And I have a disease called Progeria, so just to give you an idea, I weigh about only 50 pounds. So logistically, I really couldn't carry a regular-sized snare drum. And because of this, the band director assigned me to play pit percussion during the halftime show. Now, pit percussion was fun. It involved some really cool auxiliary percussion instruments like the bongos, timpani, and timbales and cowbell. So it was fun. But it involved no marching, and I was just so devastated. However, nothing was going to stop me from playing snare drum with the marching band in the halftime show. So my family and I worked with an engineer to design a snare drum harness that would be lighter and easier for me to carry. And so after continuous work, we made a snare drum apparatus that weighs only about 6 pounds. I'm just going to give you some more information about Progeria. It affects only about 350 kids today worldwide, so it's pretty rare. And effects of Progeria include tight skin, lack of weight gain, stunted growth, and heart disease. Last year, my mom and her team of scientists published the first successful Progeria treatment study. And because of this, I was interviewed on NPR. And John Hamilton asked me the question, what is the most important thing that people should know about you? And my answer was simply that I have a very happy life. Thank you. So even though there are many obstacles in my life, with a lot of them being created by Progeria, I don't want people to feel bad for me. I don't think about these obstacles all the time, and I'm able to overcome most of them anyway. So I'm here today to share with you my philosophy for a happy life. So for me, there are 3 aspects to this philosophy. So this is a quote from the famous Ferris Bueller. The first aspect to my philosophy is that I'm okay with what I ultimately can't do because there's so much that I can do. Now, people sometimes ask me questions like, isn't it hard living with Progeria? Or what daily challenges or Progeria do you face? And I'd like to say that even though I have Progeria, most of my time is spent thinking about things that have nothing to do with Progeria at all. Now, this doesn't mean that I ignore the negative aspects of these obstacles. When I can't do something like run a long distance or go on an intense roller coaster, I know what I'm missing out on. But instead, I choose to focus on the activities that I can do through things that I'm passionate about, like scouting or music or comic books or any of my favorite Boston sports teams. Yeah. So, however, sometimes I need to find a different way to do something by making adjustments, and I want to put those things in the can-do category, kind of like you saw with the drum earlier. So here's a clip with me playing Spider-Man with the Foxborough High School marching band at halftime a couple years ago. Thank you. All right. So that was pretty cool. And so I was able to accomplish my dream of playing snare drum with the marching band, as I believe I can do for all of my dreams. So hopefully you can accomplish your dreams as well with this outlook. The next aspect to my philosophy is that I surround myself with people that I want to be with, people of high quality. I'm extremely lucky to have an amazing family who have always supported me throughout my entire life. And I'm also really fortunate to have a really close group of friends at school. Now, we're kind of goofy. A lot of us are band geeks, but we really enjoy each other's company, and we help each other out when we need to. We see each other for who we are on the inside. So this is us goofing off a little bit. And so we're juniors in high school now, and we can now mentor younger band members as a single collective unit. What I love about being in a group like the band is that the music that we make together is true, it's genuine, and it supersedes Progeria. So I don't have to worry about that when I'm feeling so good about making music. But even having made a documentary and going on TV a couple times, I feel like I'm at my highest point when I'm with the people that surround me every day. They provide the real positive influences in my life, as I hope that I can provide a positive influence in theirs as well. Thank you. So the bottom line here is that I hope that you appreciate and love your family, love your friends, for you guys, love your bros, and acknowledge your mentors and your community, because they are very real aspects of everyday life that can make a truly significant positive impact. So, the third aspect to the philosophy is keep moving forward. Here's a quote by a man you may know named Walt Disney, and it's one of my favorite quotes. I always try to have something to look forward to, something to strive for to make my life richer. It doesn't have to be big. It could be anything from looking forward to the next comic book to come out, or going on a large family vacation, or hanging out with my friends, to going to the next high school football game. However, all of these things keep me focused and know that there's a bright future ahead and may get me through some difficult times that I may be having. Now, this mentality includes staying in a forward-thinking state of mind. I try hard not to waste energy feeling badly for myself, because when I do, I get stuck in a paradox where there's no room for any happiness or any other emotion. Now, it's not that I ignore when I'm feeling badly. I kind of accept it. I let it in so that I can acknowledge it and do what I need to do to move past it. When I was younger, I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to be an inventor who would catapult the world into a better future. Maybe this came from my love of Legos and the freedom of expression that I felt when I was building with them. And these was also derived from my family and my mentors, who always make me feel whole and good about myself. Now today, my ambitions have changed a little bit. I'd like to go into the field of biology, maybe cell biology or genetics or biochemistry or really anything. And this is a friend of mine who I look up to, Francis Collins, the director of the NIH, and this is us at TED-Med last year, chatting away. I feel that no matter what I choose to become, I believe that I can change the world. And as I'm striving to change the world, I will be happy. About 4 years ago, HBO began to film a documentary about my family and me called Life According to Sam. Now, it was a pretty great experience, but it was also 4 years ago. And like anyone, my views on many things have changed and hopefully matured, like my potential career choice. However, some things have stayed the same throughout that time, like my mentality and philosophy towards life. So I would like to show you a clip of my younger self from the film that I feel embodies that philosophy. I know more about it genetically. So it's less of an embodiment now. It used to be like this thing that prevents me from doing all this stuff that causes other kids to die, that causes everybody to be stressed, and now it's a protein that is abnormal that weakens the structure of cells. So, and it takes a burden off of me because now I don't have to think about Progeria as an entity. Okay, pretty good, huh? Yep. Thank you. So, as you can see, I've been thinking this way for many years, but I'd never really had to apply all of these aspects of my philosophy to the test at one time until last January. I was pretty sick. I had a chest cold, and I was in the hospital for a few days. I was secluded from all of the aspects of my life that I felt made me me, that kind of gave me my identity. But knowing that I was going to get better and looking forward to a time that I would feel good again helped me to keep moving forward. And sometimes I had to be brave, and it wasn't always easy. Sometimes I faltered, I had bad days, but I realized that being brave isn't supposed to be easy. And for me, I feel it's the key way to keep moving forward. So, all in all, I don't waste energy feeling bad for myself. I surround myself with people that I want to be with, and I keep moving forward. So with this philosophy, I hope that all of you, regardless of your obstacles, can have a very happy life as well. Oh, wait, hang on a sec. One more piece of advice. Never miss a party if you can help it. My school's homecoming dance is tomorrow night, and I will be there. Thank you very much.